Hello, and welcome back to Danganronpa Lapse. On the last episode, we met 3 additional people. Only 2 of them have been named, only because one of them stuck behind. But we've learned that in this world of ultimates, we know nothing about the ultimates. And our friend Ashley is the ultimate jockey. Such as Art saying, "I've heard of Ashley Westbridge's accomplishments. She can wrangle just about any horse and ride them to victory. It's quite impressive to be able to tame such creatures, and in any variety nonetheless. However, I've read that you excel best with your main partner, Hyperion. A Pinto Trekiner? I have no idea about horse breeds. Oh my, I didn't realize my achievements were so widely regarded. It's a little embarrassing hearing others remark upon them. Wow, even so." I looked over to Ashley, who, despite the sudden grandeur, looked as modest as ever. "Honestly, I just thought you were a typical horse girl. I don't know whether to find that humbling or insulting to my talent." So Ashley held the title of Ultimate Jockey, huh? I was curious to know what that implied. I never knew her to be particularly eccentric when it came to her lifestyle at the stables. "For how long during our friendship did you have the title?" "Enough about me. What about you two? I admit, I can't really put a talent on to either of your names." With this newfound knowledge of the situation, I was curious to learn about the other students here. Sure. Let's go Art first, I guess. Yeah. Your name is Art, right? May I ask what your talent is? Sure. I'm the ultimate golfer. Happy Gilmore. Fair enough. I'll never miss my mark. Total holes and ones all day. Every day. Wow, how'd you manage that? I don't know. I can't stand having to put more energy into extra strokes, so I make the first and last one count. What kind of reasoning was that to become a pro golfer? That's an interesting way to go about it. I can't even imagine being able to control the club like that. It took a lot of practice, for sure. I used to play golf a lot with my grandpa. It was all in good fun back in the day, so I guess I never really thought about it as work, you know? I've flubbed a few times, sure, but who doesn't? Art seems to have taken a lot of pride in his title. It's admirable. Hi, Missy. What those individual groups or institutions do with their students is beyond me. I've not heard many stories of success or failure from anyone who's had the luxury of it being accepted. In any case, don't take much stock in the title, is all I'm saying. I have to admit, though, I'm rather curious of the titles. Now that the subject has been broadened up, that's understandable. I'm the ultimate tactician. Okay, then, fair enough. Brainiac. That also means you're the type to play the long con. Tactician. Like battle tactics? No, more like political campaign tactics and strategies. The less interesting of the 2 people usually think of. Okay. Well, still, that still applies to some degree, right? I've been at the forefront of numerous political campaigns and battles, many of which I've been employed to strategize against by opposing forces. Really? Aren't you basically manipulating the winner outcome then? The choice is not mine, but the people's. I simply put the message out there. Or put the message out. Framing it in a most self-beneficial way possible for each side. I think political campaigns can be interesting. But wouldn't the Ultimate Campaign Manager be a more appropriate title? Well, I'm not the one who came up with the title. I see. Missy seems to be very self-assured, a person who doesn't seem to care much for the extravagance of the ultimate title implies. Such captivating talents. I'd love to watch one of your games out. That's nothing. I bet horse racing is much more interesting. Indeed, your feats of athleticism are quite impressive. Yeah, I have to admit it's hard to imagine. It's not really such a big deal, Echo. Honestly, the whole ultimate student thing feels a tad blown out of proportion. Sensing Ashley has done, was done with the praise, I shifted to the topic. Well, now that we're all acquainted, why don't we look around for some more? Looks like there's there's more to be seen upstairs. Oh yes, it was a pleasure talking to you two. Don't be a stranger, we can explore together. Art's echoing voice sounded through the dining hall. Oh man, the kitchen features are cool, what's this? And he's broken something. Are you sure you want to be stuck with Art, Missy? On second thought, I might keep an eye on Art for a little. I'm sure he won't mind the company. Alright, we'll see you around. Fair enough. Actually, I stepped out of the dining hall into the foyer once more. Cannon didn't stay for long, the foyer was devoid of her presence. Where to? There are stairs going up, but I think we should check out the entirety of this floor first. I was thinking the same. Why don't you pick where to go next? Sure. The other locations are the study and the theatre. Let's visit the study, why not? Let's go to the study. I quite like the look of this place. The study was cramped. Encyclopedias that filled it to the ceiling, covered in abundance of subjects ranging from anywhere from medical to athletic. There was a small office corner provided for studying the tomes in relative ease. Another digital kiosk stood at the side, showing a searchable list of books in the study. And honestly, that sounds useful. Ashley observed the kiosk curiously as I gawked at the variety of reading materials stuffed on the shelves. Oh wow, the Equestrian Encyclopedia was published only 2 years ago. I have an old version, so this could be really interesting. You would be excited by that. But now that you know I'm an ultimate jockey, it all makes sense. No, you're still the same old horse girl, I know, but with a fancy title. There were two of the students taking residence in the library, one meekly hiding in the corner, and the other calmly leafing through their book of choice. Okay. Calm one first, I guess. The green-haired student noticed me approaching him, and deftly flipped his book shut with one hand, giving me his full attention. Good morning. I immediately felt that attention to be near palpable from his focused gaze alone. Are you finding everything alright? The study has quite a pleasant atmosphere, wouldn't you agree? Well, yes. It's very well accommodated. The study, as well as the rest of the facility, are nicely prepared. Indeed, you could spend days in this well-kept study, enriching your mind in regards of whatever subject your heart desires. Does it sound like an inviting prospect? I don't see why not. A location for the ultimate students should be in peak condition, right? The preservation project situation seems to be equipped for comfort. So you've been made aware of the preservation project. He hesitated, as if chewing meticulously on his next statement. Do you have an ultimate talent? If I'm being honest, I'm not sure I even know what my ultimate talent is. Considering the situation seems to revolve around it, everyone I've met so far has some kind of title. I admire your condo. Who knows? You might have some innate skills that you personally think are average. You think so? I feel pretty ordinary, and I've never really been at the center of mass attention of anything in particular. Skill might require... the skill might just require a specific habit, so to speak. Luckily, this appears to be the ideal place and social environment for expanding upon such hidden abilities. However, I wouldn't worry much about it. Whether underlying passion or talent you have is for you, you alone, and for what? Or talent you have, whatever underlying passion or talent you have is for you and you alone to enjoy. There we go. That's reassuring. I feel like I've stumbled into something out of my league with so many skilled students. If you don't mind me asking, what's your ultimate talent? It's hard to describe. I'm called the Ultimate Charisma. Cyrus, Sarek, by the way. Okay, Cyrus, the Ultimate Charisma. And how is that a talent? Nice to meet you. Back at you. A pleasure. I don't really understand the implication of his title, but I could feel a sort of alluring presence to him. I suppose that's what charisma is. Well, time to talk to you guys. I approached the meek student standing in one of the darker corners of the study. Hi there. And they're scared. Sorry to spook you, I was just going around meeting everyone. I'm Michael Pine. I was dragged to my room by that guy over there. He's evil. I peered over the aforementioned person who just looks to be calmly inspecting the rows of books. Fine, he did drag me out. I ran into him when I was wandering around. I just wanted to be alone in the study. She shot me a troubled glance after admitting her lie. Can you tell me something about yourself? Me? I'm Sai Kono. I'm a watchmaker. Decent talent? Will you then, by chance, be called the Ultimate Watchmaker? Well, I guess you could say that. I just tinker with watches and stuff. They go really high prices, apparently, but I don't particularly care for the money. You just like the way things tick. Someone once offered me 3 luxurious cars for a single watch. That is okay, but that seems like a scam because you'd have to pay for each of those cars in some way, shape or form. You must have some very well-admired craftsmanship. I guess so, but I can't even drive. What was I going to do with these 3 cars? Yep. She climbed up and awkwardly turned back around to face the bookshelf corner. I didn't want to pry, so I just left her alone. After meeting with the 2 in the study, Ashley and I chatted about the other students. So we met Sai and Cyrus. Or Say and Cyrus. A watchmaker and a charismatic person, respectively. I suppose one could be talented in improving their characteristics if they wanted to. Could be similar to managing a brand, perhaps. Maybe. Regardless, they seem nice enough. Yeah, Sai seems sweet, if not a little shy. Let's go to the theatre next. Alright, so that's what? There's us 2 in the kitchen, 2 in the third, 7 in total. Ashley and I walked across the hallway to our next location, the theatre. The theatre was something to behold. Although it was fairly an intimate scene, with a few rows of seats and a medium-sized stage, it still had an air of elegance thanks to the decor. The rich red velvet curtains glowed underneath the glaze of bright spotlights. The stage itself was occupied by 3 students who seemed to be having a heated discussion. So this is the final 3. You really want to stand by that theory? Hey, to each their own. I'm not knocking you for not thinking the obvious. Let's settle down, please. Absolutely not. I have no intention of changing my view for this scoundrel. Geez, scoundrel, that's cold, especially to a stranger. You 2 don't need to get so heated about something like this. It's an important matter between 2 strongly opinionated people. So we agree on that matter. Maybe I should cut in. What's going on here? The 3 turn around, surprised, presumably from not being able to see me at the front of the hall. Unlit foot of the stage. There we go. Need you ask such a foolish question? We are discussing the dire and apparently questionable existence of this. The white-haired student crouched down to reveal a painting that was turned away from the audience. It was a framed picture of what looked like an ink block art. Someone's a fan of Zeroscape. Oh, I see, you're trying to figure out what the painting is. Yes, what do you see? I stared at it for a moment, but looked up at the two patiently in all seriousness and waiting for an answer. It's a dog, because we've played Zeroscape. I'll have to think about it. No immediate answer. I felt his judging eyes piercing my soul. It's a dog. Not everything has to be a dog. It's clearly an elephant. So, just a different four-legged animal. The conversation seemed pretty heated. I might have a better look if I just talked about them individually. Yeah, let's talk to the reasonable one. The girl who was caught in the middle of the quarrel stepped down from the stage and left the other two to glare at each other in silence. Pandora... Espuri? Oh, okay, Pandora. Nice to meet you. Likewise, I'm Echo Pine. We have opposing initials. Echo Pine, I hope we're getting along. So I was informed that this little group of students is composed of students that have ultimate talents. Did you happen to have one of a title of some sort? Oh yes. I'm known as the Ultimate Baker. Why are you not in the kitchen? I mean, well, that could come off wrong. I just figured, like, the baker would immediately go to the kitchen to find out the supplies that are given to them. I feel like I should justify myself. And yourself? About that. I don't seem to know. I don't think I have one, if I'm being honest. That's no matter. It doesn't make you any more or less of a person. Just not an ultimate person. So what do you think the painting is? I'm not really sure myself, but for some reason... but for something as ambiguous as that, it can be whatever the viewer wants it to be. Ne sais pas? I suppose so. So you are... okay, I think. Or I'm stupid. And potentially offensive. Perhaps this isn't the subject of this place that is most important, but rather, it is the emotions that convey to the individual. Black and white are quite striking colours to work with, are they not? There's a lot of symbolism behind those two simple colours. Some people would argue that they're not colours at all. Those people are wrong. But I can only wonder if the artist behind the pieces enjoyed creating it. I assume why not, right? The art wouldn't have come to life otherwise, so I don't see why not. I agree. Pandora. She's such a warm presence. Like, ooh, black and white. You know what, dark-haired guy, you know it was a dog. I approached the student wearing the fur-lined jacket. So, about the painting. I think I do see the dog. Heh. You don't have to lie. I don't care about the fact about what it is. In fact, I don't even know what the painting is either, so I made something up. You lied to us. A dog is an easy thing to imagine. It's just a practice of pareidolia. The act of receiving a subject of significance where there is no meaningful interpretation. For example, seeing objects in cloud formations or hearing indistinct voices in random noise. And in this case, seeing a dog in an abstract painting. Dogs are common enough animals, yeah? Who doesn't like to think about dogs? People who are allergic to dogs. I stared at the painting a little bit longer. The more I looked at it, the more I willed it into being what he had said it was, even if he didn't make it up. Yeah. I mean, I see the elephant, to be fair. But obviously, we know what it is. Despite being told what the subject was, I couldn't make anything out within the shapes. Isn't it a little cruel to make something up when he's so insistent about it? I just wanted him to explain why he saw what he did, but he truly wouldn't. So much for friendly discussion. To each their own, I suppose. Well, anyway, I'm just going around meeting everyone. I would tell you my talent if I had one. You don't have a title? You don't have an ultimate title? Or you can't remember? He seemed to be muttering under his breath about my last statement, but I paid him no mind and waited for his response. I'm Lyle Termina, the ultimate puzzle master, a connoisseur of word puzzles, block puzzles, escape room puzzles, the like. Okay, have you determined if we're stuck? Now, if you don't mind, I'll turn back to the painting, ending our conversation abruptly. Puzzles her. Maybe he wasn't trying to unscramble the shapes in the painting. Last person left. I visited the white-haired student on the stage. So, about the painting, I think I do see the elephant. What an ultimate liar. No need to feign understanding. I'm quite self-assured that the painter's intention was to illustrate an elephant as abstract as it appears. Aha. I stared at the painting a little longer. The more I looked at it, the more I looked it to being what he claimed to be the true subject. Despite being told what the subject was, I couldn't make out anything within the shapes. So do you have an eye for this kind of thing? An eye for the abstract art? The art? Ahimi, my friend? I'm not the ultimate artist, I am the ultimate opera singer. Oh, this man is... He rambled on about something a bit further before stopping himself. Alright. Where are my manners? Forte solo. Charmed, I'm sure. Italian? That would imply we've got... France... Italy... I don't think anyone else has hinted at nationality. He gave a deep bow as he introduced himself, slowly rose, and went to look at the painting some more, indicating the end of our conversation. He shares some interesting placed dramatic moments. Ashley and I left Forte and Lyle to have their spat in peace, and Dora stayed behind, trying to still sell the two down. You, Forte and Lyle, were kind of intense, huh? I'll say. I never really had a sharp mind for art, but I never had a sharp eye for art. So what they were talking about is beyond me. And Dora is brave for trying to calm them down. It takes a certain kind of person to want to intervene when things get heated, huh? That seems like it could be useful. Now the only person left is Canon, who we don't know the title for. After wandering on the first floor, Ashley and I paused in the living quarters hallway to gather our thoughts. So those are all the available locations on this floor. I guess the rooms are interesting enough, but more importantly, I just wonder how many other students there are. The other students from earlier Canon just counted the doors, right? Why don't we go check it out? But who knows if there are more students on other floors. There were stairs going up to the foyer. Or in the foyer, sorry. So we could check out that area too. Speaking of Canon, I wonder where her tower is. Wait, that aside, how did I never know you had a super talent in horse racing? Well, it just never came up. I knew a lot of people before you who didn't particularly care about how much time I'd spend at the Staples or racetrack, so I just stopped bringing it up. Besides, it's just easy to tell people I tend to horses. I suppose so. So what does being the ultimate level jockey imply? Does that mean you just win a lot? I assume so. Come on, Echo. I don't want to bore you with superficial numbers. I'll just say my win percentage is 44% and top 3 percentage is 84%. But are you telling us the truth? I don't know what those numbers are supposed to mean. Anyway, I'm not just a horse girl. I have other pets too. True, the cats. Yes. Like your cat, Applejack. Of course you'd remember Applejack. How could I not? She clawed up my school vests. Okay, then, so local. The deep ringing of a school bell rang across the halls, echoing, echo, through the building. Then an announcement came over to see what seemed a hidden overhead speaker in the ceiling. It's now at 9 a.m. The second floor for amenities are now open and will stay open until 7 p.m. Second floor. After the announcement, we saw Pandora filter out one of the first floor rooms and into the halls. Ashley and Echo, would you like to visit the second floor with me? Sure, we were just wondering about that as well. By the way, did you get anything to eat from the dining hall? Oh no, I was a little distracted by the whole ultimate students thing. You're in luck, I made some croissants earlier. Here, help yourself. She produced 2 warm items folded in cloth from her apron pocket. I accepted the small cloth covered delicate and unwrapped it carefully, revealing a small bite-sized croissant. A heavenly warm aroma filled the halls. From the fragrance alone, I was enveloped with the comfort of feeling the sun's rays on my skin. Don't think that's how food works. Ashley and I took one each and bit into the flaky buttery dough. A piece of chocolate inside melted as soon as it hit my tongue. It was a smooth, rich, contrasting with the light and sweet crumb of the dough housing it. Hooray! What a nice CD. It's the ultimate baker for you. Says delicious, I'm assuming, or delicious. Basically, it's delicious. Thank you. But it's nothing at all. I really enjoy baking. The look on people's faces when they smell what delectably fresh bread coming out of the oven, the warm fuzzy feeling you get when you eat your favorite food, such as feeling, is priceless. Pandora, it was right. After enjoying the croissant, I felt an intense nostalgia in my younger days. When I would spend summers capitalized, wandering around outside, basking in the fresh afternoon sun. There was the power of the ultimate baker's delicacies to invoke warmth and sense of familiarity. What a wonderful thing. Hooray! Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I noticed that you two are quite close. Have you met before? Ek is my best friend. We've known each other for 4 years now. Tres Mimi. I'm trying to think of what that would be. That is... well, I'm trying to think what Mimi would be. I doubt it'd be long. That's long. A long friendship is something to cherish. I just said it sounds like a death flag for Ashley. Definitely, Echo's always been there for me, even if it was a little worrisome. How could you say that? I was just looking out for you. I kid, of course. I really appreciate your concern. But you should think about yourself sometimes too. Pandora smiled sweetly as we had our little back and forth. Sorry. Why don't we get going? No worries, Sarah. Shall we? The three of us walked back to the hallway towards the foyer where the stairs to the second floor were. Hey, Pandora. Did you meet anyone else this morning? Anyone else? Can't say that I have. So far, I've only been acquainted with you two at Forte and Lyle. Oh, sorry. Thought you might run into a few others like we have. This morning I went to the dining hall, then the theatre. Unfortunately, Forte and Lyle kept me from going anywhere else with their argument. Well, if we didn't see you... Yeah, if we didn't see you, then you must have woke up so much earlier than us. Huh. That's correct. I suppose you could say my internal clock has been tuned to my habits, given my day-to-day life. Yeah, I would imagine you would be waking up a lot earlier to get, like, things prepared and ready. I wake up very early to make sure that my dough from the night before has properly risen. Prep my any glazes what I might need. Prep my workstation. But I must be boring you with the daily routine. No, not at all. It's fascinating, honestly. You sweet Echo. Perhaps I'll invite you to help me tomorrow morning. Hope you're awake by 4:30 AM. Oh, sure. I can't promise, but I'll be fully awake, though. Pandora laughed lightly in jest as she went her merry way up the stairs. Okay, then. Actually, I followed suit. And we were met with another digital kiosk at the top of the staircase. Okay, where are we currently? That's the elevator, so these are the stairs. We've got Jazz Club, Climbing Center, Spa Lounge, and an atrium. I'm gonna vote we go to this Spa Lounge? Jazz Club? One of those two. I think Spa Lounge first. What kind of mansion has a climbing center in it? Maybe the owner is an eccentric rock climber. Or maybe it was custom built for people, I guess. I think the assortment of activities is presented to cater to unique talents of various students. In fact, the kitchen pantry has a wealth of resources. I'm quite surprised to find such a fresh and rare ingredients. I imagine other ultimate chefs would be pleased with the selection as well. Yeah, makes sense. That's a good point. There was a theatre on the first floor, after all, but Ford and other ultimate performers probably utilised the room as a place for them to hone their skills. Preservation project. It seems like this group wanted to accommodate a myriad of intense and unique students. So, preservation. Are they under threat? Or is it a place that was genuinely designed to hone skills, but obviously turned to a place where they will die? I wondered what kind of group had the ability to provoke such a vast selection of activities and resources. That's a good question. Where to first? I'm curious about the climbing center. The mansion must be huge if it can house something exciting as that right in there. I'd like to see the spa. I'd like to see the spa lounge. It must be a lovely, relaxing place. Echo, why don't you decide? Well, okay. Let's explore. Let's decide next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I can see you in the next one. And with that, goodbye.